Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's just that one's left.
This is my. This my copy? Or no?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's
And you want to sign the one with the red tag on it.
pretend to have a red tag on it. That's what I got. Unless there's one over it.
We've already signed this one. Do you want to sign it again?
I got that with my check ready.
That's because there's one check on there that needs to be verified.
Okay, so is there a copy of that in?
There is.
Okay.
And we all got it. See?
All right.
Well,
Okay, very good.
So we have to get one.
some days. Everybody's
It's
right.
like 340. And that's the high side. That would move everybody.
Steve, you missed this one and Bob missed this one.
There's the one with the red tag.
You should just vote on one, which goes with these.
And we get in trouble for forging the name.
True.
Can't win.
And then Bob didn't sign that one. Or this one, or that one. Get a handful.
Mr. Olet,
Color sharp or something.
it's lacking.
Just in case you know.
And this one?
Just one.
Miss two, there's two.
So did you.
Well, I didn't get this pile, that's why I thought I might come over and, well, when,
Bob, Sure.
when you're done, and then,
They want to know that.
Did you miss them? Did I miss
We
them?
still have a
No, you didn't.
We'll get out to Wednesday, we should really get out to Tuesday, if we have to.
that's two right there
Call
for you,
them,
Mr.
so
Oh, what?
Monday.
This goes for the second.
Oh, just how
long do you think it's gonna take?
I wouldn't think anything Maybe 15 minutes.
I signed this one because I looked at this one already.
I'm saying we'll just keep it with Jared and fine.
Apparently you didn't.
I guess not, but I signed a page that because I read this.
Everything else is done, right?
Are you free Friday afternoon?
He's
Yeah,
determined.
which happens to be back from,
You wanna get,
It's not sharp.
Oh, I use Sharpies too.
Yeah, I
This is for the fine details.
which I think will be back from the commissioners meeting.
Probably noon, 12:30.
That's
Mr.
why
Fly
I
is
was
back.
back.
Yeah.
Do you want to say 1:30 just to give it
hey, you should've let me go, man.
hey.
All right,
Want to say 1:30?
1:30.
Give you some time to still in.
Yeah, 1:30 is
I
fine.
don't know. Okay.
all right, can I have a motion to approve the manifest, please?
I make that motion?
I second it.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes of the last meeting. There were a number of corrections, so, that we've given to Brandy, so I would like to put the minutes off till the next meeting.
Do you have to make a motion and move the minutes after the next meeting?
I can make a motion, that was a motion if you like.
Who second that?
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me. Public comment. Seeing none, correspondence. Jersey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You'll see on page 11 of your packet that we received a letter from the Wakefield Paraprofessional Association requesting to reopen negotiations solely upon the health insurance coverage. I just wanted to make sure the board was aware that we had received that letter, and I'd like to know how the board would like to proceed.
Can you enlighten us a little bit as to what exactly is going on? I do recall that we did put some money away for the Obamacare.
We budgeted some money for the penalty.
All right, so,
And that goes into effect 2015, not this school year.
so what happens to that money, Andrew? Can you carry it over?
You can't carry it over because it's not gonna happen until 2015, 16, so it'll.
So that 20,000 get turned back over to the town,
It's good, not to the town, to the taxpayers.
taxpayers, rather, huh? Okay. So, could you share anything about this with us, Mr. Pearson?
The specific request, Mr. Chair, is that what you're referring to?
Right, a little background into,
Well, within the collective bargaining agreement, the paraprofessionals can request to reopen for negotiations, and their request is around health insurance. So based on this letter, it seems that they'd like to come to the table to negotiate potentially what it looks like for health insurance coverage for the Paraprofessionals Association. And that would have to be negotiated with the board.
Bonnie?
So we're looking at everything that we learned today in regards to the Affordable Care Act
yes.
today. They want to see what's available to them coming in that 2014, 2015 contract. Is that what am I, or we just have to go to the table and find out what they're looking for?
Correct, they're asking to,
And is that
Have that
something like
conversation.
Bob and I are on negotiations, so Bob and I would, as the subcommittee, would meet in negotiations with them and with you and
correct,
Peter? Our Peter and their Peter, probably.
not necessarily,
It's just,
we should find out what they're specifically looking for, but that
Okay.
would be opening up discussions around the contract. So if the board would like for me to reach out to the Paraprofessionals Association and coordinate a meeting, I'll be happy to do that.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, my question, well, is this, but we're not obligated.
Within the actual collective bargaining agreement, it states in there that we can open up, they can request to open for negotiations, and that's what they're doing, so
But,
not necessarily obligated.
but we're not obligated.
I don't think that it's a problem to see what they're looking for and to bring the information forward that we have that's current. You know, the information has changed and the dates and the deadlines have changed since that letter was even addressed to us. So those are all things that we can sit down at the table, look at, know what they're looking to expect, and then we can refocus ourselves, get our stuff together, and we can formulate a plan from there.
Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I could reach out to Ms. Johnson and get some more specifics as to the intent behind the request, and then bring that back to the board if you need more information to make that decision as to whether you want to sit down or not. It's up to you. Either way.
Yeah, we could do, want to do that?
Yeah,
What's
because
Michael?
we don't know what
Yeah,
it's
that's
actually
fine.
Let
about.
Michael reach out and
Yeah.
Yeah.
do it, all right?
Will do.
Alright. New business. We,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Under new business, we had a scheduled transportation subcommittee meeting this afternoon that we were unable to have. Facilities ran for the whole hour. So we were going to move the transportation and subcommittee agenda under new business. And there were two items on it. One item is that provided basically an updated bus maintenance schedule. This goes back to an original maintenance schedule that was provided to the board, and Mr. Brown had asked for some more detail. And Mr. Eldridge is here to answer any questions you might have around this maintenance schedule.
So I can explain a little bit. I took my trip back over to Governor Whitworth and said, okay, I'm going to write down everything that you're doing, and pretty much put that on this list. So the board, not the board, but the board that's on the wall in the maintenance office, and I know, Steve, you saw that, and you liked
Well-
what you saw up there.
Yeah,
So basically, this is pretty much what that reflects, just on a spreadsheet instead. All these numbers represent the mileage, and with the new GPS system that we've got, it has the maintenance piece in that. So it runs a report weekly and tells me, weekly what buses are coming due, and of course corresponds with the mileage that's in here. The only thing different is currently we're doing the 5,000 mile. We're not doing a 3 or a 6. We're doing 5. So to stay in line to what you guys were thinking, similar to what Governor Whitworth was doing, they do the 3,000 dry check, basically just checking the tires, checking, light adjustment, interior stuff, that sort of thing. And then at 6,000 miles, the bus goes back and then has the actual greasing and oil change and that sort of stuff. The vans they keep at 4,000, so I moved that down because currently we were doing everything at 5. So I shifted that to 4, and then just filled in the blanks from there with the mileage. And like I said, it works well with that GPS because it just tracks the mileage and runs that report weekly. And so,
why move it down to 4 if we were doing it at 5?
I just assumed to keep it at the 5, but I know it was mentioned to get it in line with what they were doing over there. Part of it is the vans do have a tendency to go more. Like we've got one that within the course of a week does about just under 5,000 miles a week. So that alone, the vans are doing more than, say, the big buses, just because of their shared distance that they have to go. So, in talking with Governor Wentworth, basically their thought is that because those vans are going so much, that it would be more effective to have those changed out more than the buses that don't go quite as or need the service quite as quick.
Well,
The van is 4,000 maintenance, basically, or just drive maintenance?
The whole thing.
The whole thing at that point. What do you think they find as far as drive maintenance at the Ford, on a constant 4,000 turnover? Anything at all?
I mean, they may check the tires. They go over the car top to bottom at the 4,000. At the 3, they would go over top to bottom also on the big buses. Just the difference is they're not going to grease and change the oil and that sort of stuff. So.
What I'm getting at is, I think, do we need to be 4, or can we go back to 5?
that's what I was asked.
I'm fine with doing that. Just, I know that the comment was made, let's get it in line with what they were doing over there. So I adjusted it so that we could see and obviously discuss.
Could you tell?
Because even the 3,000, I mean, I like the idea of doing that. Certainly, it helps kind of keep things on, the up and up. But basically now, if we have a light go out, we don't have the maintenance department to change it, so it still goes over there. So we could, potentially eliminate the 3,000. Obviously, adding that 3,000 means an extra cost, because it is going over there. They're gonna bring the bus in. They're gonna check into that. But keeping things at the 5, the way that we have been doing it, would obviously keep things kind of status quo.
So the GPS basically is set to tell you the maintenance at 4,000 miles?
Right, and it's just a matter of changing it, the system when it reports back to me.
So if you go over for an out light,
Yep,
let's say, does it reset from there?
no. No.
Okay.
It would tell me, basically it just tells me that, okay, this bus has, another 200 miles to go before it has to go in for either the 3 or the 6 or whatever.
Well,
Did you say that one of these vans goes 5,000 miles a week?
Yeah.
So every week this van's getting maintenance.
Right now, almost every week, yeah.
Wow.
and that's what? A 14 passenger?
No, it's the caravan, yeah.
I thought I could have went right.
So, the regular, or the, anything yellow, I guess, would be, has been at 5,000?
Everything's been at 5,000, everything. That's what we have been doing. But the new plan, going with what they're doing, the big buses only would have a 3,000 check and then a 6,000 check. The caravans and the small mini buses would go to the 4,000.
The 14 passenger?
14 passenger, yep, the mini buses.
14 passenger and the minivan would go to 4,000.
Correct.
Well, I think we ought to go back to 5.
Well, what is the cost?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't have the cost, I didn't do anything with the cost, I'm sorry, but I would say, well, I couldn't guess, to tell you the truth, I couldn't guess. Only because, I mean, yes, it's going in for the service, but we wouldn't be doing the oil change and the greasing, so obviously that takes out a little bit of time. Instead of say a 2 or 3 hour job, it might be an hour and a half. So there would be an added cost.
Right, it's gonna be more money.
Definitely.
So I would think we'd want to go back to the 5. You had a comment, Mr. Boozy?
I was just gonna recommend that if Mr. Eldridge could put together an estimate of what the additional cost would be, and then bring that back for your review, keep it status quo at this point, meaning what
Yeah, I
we
haven't
used to do.
changed anything yet.
Yeah.
This I knew was a,
Because, I mean, we were already spending a lot of money
Mhm.
as it is. And I'd like to see you somehow try to trim off our because we're paying some good money on maintenance, so I wouldn't be in favor of the 3.6.
Yeah. Tim, what do you think? I mean, you've done this, so,
we've always stayed
it
at
sounded like you
the-
wanted to stay with 5
Yeah,
too.
we've always stayed at the 5,000, and it seemed to work. I mean, like I said, if we get a light out, we have to run it over anyway, so, but obviously, we're not running it over, they're not doing a full check, they're just changing the light, so, but I'm fine with keeping it at the 5.
I mean, I think, to more in line with Governor Wentworth is doing, but you don't have to be specific.
Yep,
I mean, they have their own in-house crew,
right,
so it's cost effective for us to do this. It's gonna be a lot more money.
definitely.
So I wouldn't be in favor of doing this. I would
Yeah.
leave it.
So
Well,
basically, that column where it says 364 would just change to 5 it would be one column, and it would have 5,000, and basically those numbers would be adjusted. But
could those other ones go to 6? Have it 6 involved?
have everything at 6?
Well, or except for have the vans, the 14 passengers in the minivan at 4, and then the rest at 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that being a problem. Certainly they're, well, going in line with what they're doing, they're able to do the 6, so I'm sure the manufacturer has said that they can go 6, so I'm fine with that.
What is the manufactured recommendation for having them serviced?
Right now, I was always working off 5, and that's what I had been told moons ago, so that's where we
Did you
had
confirm
stayed.
that with this one? For coming to us, did you confirm that it was still every 5,000? Because some of the new vehicles, like if the vans are new, they
Yeah,
go 7,500 now.
right. I can
Especially if
certainly,
they're using synthetic.
right,
So those are things, I mean, that would,
yep,
that's a big difference.
definitely. I will definitely update this, and then I can send it to Andrew, and he can email it out to you guys. And what I'll do is I'll find that out, those very questions. What is the max that we can go? The vans, the buses, that sort of stuff, and then kind of come up with between that 5 mark and what that max is, somewhere in the end, then let you guys know.
Can you think of any other ways of maybe trying to trim down that maintenance budget? Because it's pretty expensive.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, basically, we get the transmissions done once a year. I mean, other than something major going wrong and then it gets tied up, some of the buses, of course, still under warranty, thankfully, so they go back. We don't have to worry about that, but I don't know.
Just for the board's information, Tim and I had checked into other repair shops, what their hourly rate is, and it's either equal to or higher than what we're paying at our current.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you bringing that to us.
And that's the unfortunate part. The labor is either half or a little more than what we end up paying, so.
Yeah, the labor is the most cost to because oil doesn't cost as much as it does to change it.
We're transporting our most valuable asset in the community,
Right.
so have to take care of them.
I did,
We can talk about
just
this
to get
a
back
little
to your thing, I did put a call in. I haven't gotten a call back, and it's just been crazy. I put the call in last week to a different tire company, and potentially with this if we're able to get the new tire company to come out and still get the state rate and all that, they would actually just come and change it right on site. And so it'd be a all-inclusive price instead of us paying for the tire now like we're doing, and then having the garage install the tire. So as soon as I can get some information on that, I can obviously pass it along.
But we're still getting the state bid.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
And we have to drive the buses to get the tires changed.
Correct. Yeah.
and speaking of tires, I'm kind of confused about this. It says, front tires at 41,238 and then 10, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, the front tires, they estimate at about 40,000 miles on the front.
And then
And
50
about
on the
50 on
rears,
the
okay,
rear,
I got it,
correct.
no, I saw what I was doing.
And unfortunately with the tires, it is truly just an estimate.
Right,
Um,
and so what are the other numbers under tires on some of the other buses? How is that? Like the next one is 159,000. And for the fronts, and then the rears are 163,000.
Yep, in that case, when I was talking with the garage, they had the tires on order, so those tires were actually being changed. For the, actually, no, the 160, so on the very next bus down, there was one bus that the tires were gonna be changed, but this next bus down, they're estimated to be changed out. And certainly I went and looked at, how much tread that they had left and that sort of stuff, and then taken their numbers. So that's where we came up with the next number. So we're estimating that it's got about 20,000 miles left on it, on that, the rear tires. So that's how that works.
So is this current mileage?
Current mileage. Yep. So some of them, you'll see that the number, like the 6,000, for example, that number might be higher or lower, but because we're in the beginning stages, some of the buses are still due for items to start that 6,000 and then out, but obviously those numbers would adjust again for whatever we come up with between the 5 and the max.
I'd like to actually talk about this some more later on.
Right, but can we maybe at least keep it as it is now, or?
Well, I changed it to the 5,000, which you already.
Yeah,
took
we
with-
haven't changed anything yet. Nothing.
All right, so can we,
Yep.
what about the vans going to 5? You think, could those go to 5 and the rest go to 6?
We've been running them at 5 now, so I don't think that would be an issue.
Okay, so maybe move everything else up to 6.
But I'll find out, like Bonnie said, what that max number is, and then we can actually kind
Right,
of
yeah.
It's
possibly
driving
juggle
condition,
those
too.
numbers a little bit more.
Well, yeah, they always say that. Anybody got anything else? Were we going to, did you have that, show us that GPS system, or?
Yep, I've got it set up.
Oh, that's right.
Is it over here?
You'll have to walk over.
On the apple?
Yeah.
Take a bite of the apple. Should have done it that way.
No. So I certainly can use some of it just because of the mapping and that sort of stuff. But basically, this whole column here tells us the bus and where it's located. So, and this line here tells us, obviously the red means it's stopped, and green means it's going. It keep loading. So this obviously is moving. We've got a late bus 5-day running. And then if I wanted to see where it was, so it builds, I can zoom in and it tells me the track that it has gone, all the locations and what have you.
For the day.
Yep, for the whole day. Actually, it saves up to for the entire month.
Have you found any issues that have to be rectified yet?
No. Well, see, the good thing is, because not only will this send me emails like for the maintenance reports and that sort of stuff, we've got some speed indicators in here, and that sends me an immediate text that if they go over it, and we did have one go over, and I'm like, oh, well, it was on 101, so it's over the speed limit that I had set, so and I was like, whew.
They don't have governors on them?
No. But basically, we can run all sorts of reports on this, for when the bus is used. It sends me a report every time it goes in and out of DePreggio's, so that way I know what's coming and going.
And you don't have any at DePreggio's now?
I'm almost excited to get our
none-
first transportation
None
report.
at DePreggio's.
No?
Yep, they're all at the town garage right at the moment, except the late bus one.
Would it be possible to get a printout of everything this gets, or can do, or does, or whatever?
Oh, I'm sure I can get that from the guy and list all the different things that it does.
But could we see like an actual?
That is the actual.
There's one there right
Yeah,
now.
this is live right now.
I understand, but what I'm requesting is a printout of this, a printout of the different reports that it.
Like a maintenance report type thing, or on the route, a daily route.
All the capabilities that this program can do.
Okay.
Would it be possible to get a printout of each of the individual capabilities of the program, so that we could, like that for example, get a copy of that for everyone,
Yep.
get a copy of the different reports
Yep.
that it does, just so we can see it
Sure.
as,
What
I
Tim and
can-
I can do for the next business meeting is get together and
Go through it.
run a sample of each report that the
Right.
system's capable
Yeah.
of putting out.
Yep.
And the board can see that.
just so we have a full, a complete understanding of all of the capabilities of it.
Right.
And the board can tell us what reports, if any, they want to see on a monthly basis.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's pretty much it. But it was good. We had, I sent a driver back to Manchester, and he got fumbled up getting from 93 to 101, and went 93 south a ways, pulled over, called me and said, hey, I'm not sure where I am. I was able to go on, locate where he was, and give him the directions back to where he needed to go. So that was nice.
As long as there's no detours. I take
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
So, but that's the scoop. But yes, I'll get with Andrew and we'll
Right.
get some sample reports for you.
Yeah.
Would you like that at the full board, Mr. Brown, or transportation section?
What do you think, Mr. Ball? Tercey asked the question, should we wait and have those reports given to the Transportation Committee, or want to just give it to the full board?
I think Bob's on the transportation.
Oh, that's right. Bob, what am I, never mind.
Oh, never mind then.
I'd say the whole board's gonna wanna be involved in that, so. it doesn't really matter.
They will be involved in it, but should we put it through the Transportation Committee first?
We can. That doesn't-
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference.
You don't have a preference?
No.
Well, we should probably put it in through the Transportation Committee, since that's what we've been trying to stick to, is putting it through the, Oh, so Tim, one other question I had, I've seen there's been a few buses that I've asked Mr. Tercey about. And, it's like one passenger on a 77 passenger vehicle. Is there any way we can do it more efficiently? Because, you know,
Certainly, I do try, once in a while, we do have to send a big bus just because I don't have one of the little ones available. But yes, I do try to utilize the smaller vehicles, for example, the one child or the two children.
and also, do you think we should maybe have more than one minivan and maybe have one less 14 passenger?
Well, in our maintenance replacement schedule, we were eliminating the green van and going to get another minivan. But because of the change in some special ed stuff, we've actually, we don't have a full-time need for an additional van. So at this point, as soon as one of the special ed runs ends, we would be able to eliminate that green van and not look to purchase another one until next year.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is, maybe get it, when one of the 14 passenger vehicles is ready
Yep.
to get rid of, instead of replacing that with another 14 passenger, replace it with a minivan.
Sure.
Would that make more sense? And
It would, especially for some of our out-of-district stuff.
yeah,
Save some money too.
right.
Yep.
But he's also saying that some of the transportation to outside districts might be ending, and there would eliminate the fact that we might even need another one.
I understand that, but then, like I just stated, when one of, yes, we're gonna skip the green van, replacing that, but when the next 14 passenger is up to be done with, instead of replacing that one, not the green van, but the next 14 passenger, replace that with a minivan instead of a 14 passenger.
That might be
Yep.
something great to take to the transportation committee when it's time.
Well, that's what we're doing now. Because we're doing the transportation committee meeting now. So, thank you. But, thank you for your input. Anything else, miscellaneous, anybody?
Yeah, just had a couple items, if you
Yep.
don't mind.
Yep.
One of the sheds out here,
Uh-huh,
we're looking to move that down. I'm sure Joe told you about that. So as soon as I can get that coordinated with the highway crew, we're gonna move that down, and then set it off to the side. The only thing, I know initially we were looking to get power at the lockbox. It would make sense to put the keys inside the building instead of in that lockbox. So instead of putting power at the lockbox, actually just adding power to the building instead. So it'd just be a matter of one light instead of at the pole where the lockbox is, just putting one light at the,
but we already approved the light at the lockbox, that hasn't been,
Correct.
that hasn't been,
no, right, it has not been installed. I know the last time we met, I brought it up to confirm that we could get it.
right.
And then both me and Bob, but that's all I know. I don't know what his company is, but the power guy.
Sonrica, Bob,
Yep.
Sonrica Electric.
We've tried to coordinate a couple times to get over there, and then either my schedule changed or his schedule, but of course it's been light enough, so it
Right.
hasn't been a pressing issue. But actually, I had just talked to him today, as a matter of fact, and told him about potentially holding off until that building's down there, but obviously I wanted to run it by you guys, so.
You don't recall the number on that, do you, Andrew?
No, I don't.
What are you planning for electric in that shed? And,
Just a light.
That's it, just
all
the
it
light?
needs. Yeah,
okay,
So-
so that, the money that, to put it on the pole should take care of
correct.
putting it inside the shed?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And you're not looking for any outlets or anything in there?
Nope.
And how are you gonna get the shed over there?
The highway crew, I guess is gonna come with the loader, lift it up, put it on the low bed and take it down. That's the hopeful plan. Hopefully when they lift it up.
What's the shed
it
used for, gonna be used
doesn't-
for?
Supplies,
Right,
tires.
supplies. Well, I don't know how many tires we'd actually be able to get in there.
Are you
Because it's
taking?
just the little one.
Oh, you're not taking the big one?
No, just the little one, so.
Just, paper towels, windshield wash, that type of stuff, so that they can take care of that.
Will that need heat if you're keeping that kind of product in it?
Window wash, do you heat your window wash in your vehicle in winter?
No,
No, I
No,
meant,
it's got alcohol in it.
I didn't know.
yeah. But thank you.
I didn't know.
Why wouldn't that building need a sub panel and some outlets for the block heaters and the buses?
We've already got all the power already installed for the buses. So it'd just be tying into that to add a switch and a light.
Yeah, those block, that's already been done. They plug them in and
Excellent. That answers my question.
Yep.
Thank you.
And the only other thing that I was gonna bring up at the committee, and I know we've already touched on this once before, but the bathroom situation down there. We've got several ladies that are there, and right now they access the porta potty out at the ball field, but that's gonna be leaving soon. And I know, like, as you saw, one of the buses is still running, but the town garage is closed, and that sort of stuff. So we're just, is there anything that we can do for them when they're either coming early in the morning or that sort of stuff?
So there's no other bathroom if the thing's closed?
No, there's just, right, once that porta potty out by the ball field goes, and I'm assuming that it'll probably be going as soon as the fall sports are over.
I mean, there's no bathroom there at all, right?
But, Bob, you drive to Massachusetts every day, don't you?
Yes.
Does your company place porta potties along the way for you?
No.
Did,
Well, what I'm getting at is if they have to go to the bathroom, where do they go?
If you think about it, where's the closest public restroom if that one's closed?
And do they drive there with the buses to go do that?
The bathroom?
Bob, we're taking them home.
What?
When they were driving the buses home, they had all that much further distance to travel and never had a problem. So, I don't understand, from an additional however much further they had to travel, and it was never a problem. Now it's a problem.
I'm just looking at it as, if you have to go to the bathroom and they're there, where do they go? Where can they go?
I mean, wouldn't you think, I don't know. All I'm thinking is, if you're at point B and point A, and you gotta go to point B, and you think, okay, you've got a half hour's travel time, wouldn't you factor that into that
I
equation?
tell my kids that all the time. Go to the bathroom before we leave. But she just doesn't work that way all the time.
Well,
I mean, what's a porta potty cost to rent? I mean,
$1,800 a year?
This should be 75 a month. You can get a good one with swinging doors for $75 a month.
Oh, yeah. You ever use, porta potty just, no thanks.
all right, is there another option? Can we get an access to?
Can they
the
have
town-
access to the
To
town
the town
grounds?
garage?
And use the bathroom there?
They don't wanna use the bathroom now.
Well, certainly the town garage bathroom has been cleaned up since I initially went in, but it's still
not appropriate for all to use.
Right.
Can it be cleaned up more so they could use it?
But then there's the not always accessible factor. You know, if there's a porta potty out maybe beside the shed that's to be moved in, at least it will be night and day, 24-hour access, which might bring some more of, the,
What are you gonna do for the 6 months when it's cold out?
they don't freeze.
They operate, and they'll come out and take care all year
Yeah, yeah.
round?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they use butterflies all the time.
Mhm.
And you could put a lock on it and just have each employee have a key.
Well, we could do the
Yeah.
combination.
Combination.
I'm up for getting a price
If you
for
forget
it.
your combination.
Well, if you have to go, you have to go.
Yeah, but you can't control that, so.
And there's no other public bathroom to go to.
Can't.
I mean, do you want them driving to the school to go? There's no, or parking at the pub and going and going?
Like I said, this was never a problem before.
Well, it sounds like you brought it up a few times, you're saying.
Well, since the buses have been parked at the town garage. Prior to that, it was never a problem.
Well, they rush home to go to their own bathroom, it sounds like.
Can I make a motion that we get a bid?
I second that.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Basically, the motion was to get a bid on how much it would cost.
Right.
Besides,
I'll bring that to the transportation.
I think there's 3 different chem can vendors in the area that would probably love to bid on that.
oh, I'm sure they would.
Good time.
Or other options.
Is that it, Tim?
I promise, that's it.
I have one item. You had requested, maybe Tim can answer now why we have, how many spare buses we have.
Yes.
So the spare buses, I assume you guys did get the list. Probably would have come maybe at the last board meeting. Right, maybe?
I don't think it was put in the last packet. no.
Okay. Well, right now, it's bus number 12, 13, and 16 are the spare buses. The bus number 12 is only a spare in the morning. That's used every afternoon for the high school. So those are our spare buses. All the special ed buses are being used right now.
But I guess the question was, why do we have to have 4 spare buses? Wouldn't a spare bus of each suffice?
Well, we initially started out way back when, I think with 2 spare buses, with the idea of one was down, that could be used, and then if for some reason we had a field trip or something broke right then while the other spare bus is being used, we would always have enough buses to be able to service what we need. And right now, it shows that we've got the 3 spare buses in the morning, and then the third bus is being used for the afternoon, one of the afternoon high school runs. But we're basically down to 2 spare buses that could be used the morning and afternoon. And I can tell you that all 3 of those in the last couple of weeks have been used very regular, just for one reason or another, and the buses needing to go to the garage and that sort of stuff.
I mean, it's just, 4 buses, that's a chunk of change.
Yeah, well, we don't have the 4th one because the special ed runs, that's all running. When the special ed run ends, that green bus is to be eliminated. So we would still be back to just the 3 big buses.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Administration, financial reports, Andrew.
Does anyone have any questions on the expense report? That was run as of September 25th.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, what's, page 3, the, social worker salary? Yeah.
Which one of your questions, Steve?
51,120?
It's under budget by $2,000,
2,300?
$2,300.
What, why, I mean,
I'll check that, I couldn't tell you that right off the top of my head, but
okay. Which the rest, so the rest of those would be, probably, could be in with that, because it has to do with the same thing, so, the next page, 51, I'm reading the wrong, oh, I have to write it, yeah. 51, 140, speech support salary, do we need to, we're in the budget season, are we gonna be all set there, or? You know anything about that, Jerry?
What's the issue?
$25,000 is what's budgeted.
What's the question, Steve?
Well, we're in the I mean, we're short $431, I mean, do we need to think about that during this budget process, or are we all set on that, or?
Well, I guess we'd have to find out why it's short $431 and find out what that error is.
You know, it's not a great deal of money,
Yeah.
but I mean, if while we're in the budget season, if this is gonna be a reoccurring event, then maybe we ought to, you know, address it through the budget process.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd recommend that if we look down the lines and we see where we're under budget at this point of the year, we analyze that prior to going into the budget process for the coming school year.
Well, that's what, yeah,
Yep.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
So we'll look into that.
And then, you know, there are a few others here, I don't know if you wanna. 51, 150. Down $3,008.
What page do you want, Steve?
Six.
Page 6. The fourth line down.
Principal remedial aid.
The academic remediation aid?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a new position?
No, it's not. I think that was the position, Steve, that was the gentleman who worked in the office that was next to mine, who worked with students who were having difficulties in the classroom. The position's no longer there. We used that money last year for the Saturday school. I believe that's what that position is.
All right. Well, I just figure, you know, we have,
Yeah.
while we might as well address these
Yeah.
if we need to, while we're in the budget,
Absolutely.
so.
Well, just so you know, what ends up happening when we run this salary budget, it takes the current fiscal year 14 salary. And we'll increase it, if it's a teacher, you'll increase it a step. Or if it's a support employee, we say give them X percentage increase, it'll increase it by that. So it's gonna base the 2015-16 budget on the salaries that are being paid right now. So it's gonna base it on a higher amount. If something changed, if the teacher was replaced by a higher paid teacher or vice versa,
Well,
the system will recognize that when it produces the 2015-16 budget.
all right, but, I just thought we might as well check on these and make sure we're,
But I believe that's what it was, Steve.
Right.
Again, I wasn't here when we had the position here in the
Right.
building, but I believe that was a position that was eliminated 2 years ago.
and then that, the last line on that, well, actually, the next page, yeah. Last line on page 7 for the transportation bus coordinator, is that what, the share that we pay Milton to share the,
Milton will pay Wakefield for that amount of money at the end of the year, so it'll always show being over budget, so we get
Milton's paying us, we're not paying Milton.
you pay Milton for the maintenance director, and Milton pays you for the
Right, that's
transportation
what, yeah.
director.
Okay.
So you'd have the same situation in transportation, in maintenance where you're under budget,
Well,
because you haven't been charged for the maintenance director yet. Now, what I could do, because we know what the salary is for the remainder of the year, is put that charge through instead of waiting until the end of the year, and pay it now instead of waiting until June, for both, going in both directions. That way it'll keep your expense report cleaner.
we could, or that's, it'd probably be whatever's, probably easier for you.
Okay. I could do that.
But if, we keep that 24,000 in our bank account for additional 9 months, and
But we're also getting it from him if he gives us the maintenance.
it's a different amount. but,
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I don't know, whatever you think is,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. Do we get, no, wait a minute. Are we paid any interest on the bank account?
It's a very minimal amount. Usually the interest covers the fees. And on $24,000, the amount that you would lose in interest would be
Right.
minuscule.
Yep.
Any other questions on the expense report?
No?
On the revenue report? I'll fill in the budget numbers once we get the tax rate setting in November, or, late November, whenever it comes into us. On the grant report, you got your general fund reconciliation, both by the treasurer and the SAU. You also have the reconciliation for the fund we keep at the Profile Bank here in town for depositing the sales from the school. And I believe the student activity account for the month of August is in here as well. Any questions? on any of the-
No, I don't have anything else.
And if all board members aren't aware of it, we are in the middle of our 2013 audit right now. So far, they said things are going fine, so.
Well, is there any other way, Andrew?
Don't jinx
There's
it.
a lot of other ways, but right now they're trying to.
You're taking care of it, there should be no problem. Not expecting any, are you?
No?
Good.
I mean, any comments they make are probably just, administrative things, nothing of any major concern.
Good. Good job. We all set? Superintendent's update. Mr. Tercey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to say I had an opportunity to attend Paul School Open House last week, and I was very impressed with the turnout. It was my first time observing an open house, and I had gotten here early, and the place was already packed, and it was nice to see that amount of turnout at an open house. It just goes to show how supportive the community is of the school. So I just wanted to say that was very nice to see as a new superintendent observing the first open house of the year and seeing the number of people there. I had an opportunity to meet some parents as well as some community members. I just want to comment how nice that was to see coming in. I do have underneath the superintendent's update, a high school residency update. We continue to stay on top of this. We have 176 students at Spalding that we're billed for, and as of today, we've received 113 residency affidavits. So that puts us at about 64% of our high school students that we've received residency affidavits. That leaves us with 63 more that we need to receive. So at this point, I'll be sending out a second letter to those 63 parents, again with a addressed envelope, as well as the updated list for these 63 students is being sent to Spalding for them to put out an alert now. I believe our first billing is in November, so the goal is to acquire as many of the 63 remaining prior to our first bill. And my understanding is that this is many more in-house that we received at this point than we have in the past. So the process seems to be working fairly well, although not ideal. It'd be nice to have all of them in by this point, but I believe if we can be more proactive in the summer months in getting the information out to people, that we can make adjustments. But at this point, we're staying on top of it to make sure that the students that we are billed for are residents of Wakefield.
Cool.
As of our last meeting, we had 79 of them in here, so would you say we're at 136?
113.
113,
Mhm.
so that's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, it is good.
So we'll go through the same process that we did last time, except my letter will be a little different going home this time, because the next, after the second step, and with the alert now, we would make arrangements to do home visits to acquire those residency affidavits.
Very good.
Okay. The other update I wanted to give to the board is that a couple board meetings you had mentioned that you were not receiving the alerts off of the website for any new postings. And I did check into that, and the alert system is working. We went through Back Bay to actually run some test alerts, sent in some email addresses for test alerts, and everything was working well. And checking on emails that are in that system, if your email's in there, sometimes it does get bumped directly into spam or junk mail, those alerts, so you might want to check that. But the system is actually working. So it would be something you might want to check, or re-enter an email address if it's changed in any way. Also, the request at the last board meeting was to add Clearview to those alerts. So we contacted Clearview and got their email address, and we actually put that address in for the alert as well. So they should be getting all the alerts on any postings or any new updates on the website.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's all I have at this point, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Thank you. Old business. Any old business?
Yes, sir.
School board business policies. I see that I believe we were gonna postpone that to this meeting, because I was going to be away at the last meeting, but I see that it wasn't postponed, so.
What's it doing?
The policy meeting before the last meeting,
Mm-hmm.
it was discussed that because I was going to be away, that policy meeting was gonna be postponed to this evening.
I thought we had decided against that. We had transportation and facilities, and you said that we could go ahead.
I don't believe that to be, but what I mean,
We apologize for that. We'll sing clear next time, but we
Thank you.
did move forward.
okay, so. We have these two policies.
I can speak to them, Mr. Chair, if you'd like.
Go right ahead, Mr. Terzi.
You have two policies in front of you that we did have a policy subcommittee meeting and met and reviewed policy BAR-R1 evaluation of the school board and BAR2 individual member self-evaluation worksheet. And in the subcommittee, it's recommended to move it to the full board for review. The policy itself, actually BAR1 evaluation of school board, was adapted from the New Hampshire School Boards Association sample, as well as adapted from the Milton School Board policy for the self-evaluation. The Milton School Board self-evaluation policy was basically, it had all the components that were on the New Hampshire School Boards Association sample policy, although the Milton policy actually included all 8 categories that a board would self-evaluate on. So it was a combination of the New Hampshire School Board Association as well as the Milton School Board policy for comprehensive self-evaluation. And that's what you have there. Policy BAR2, the individual member self-evaluation worksheet. This is for just individual board members to go through the process. That information isn't shared with the full board or with anyone else. It's just for your own, basically for your own process for self-evaluation as an individual board member. However, BAR1 is something for the entire board, and if you were to adopt this policy, I would recommend that you go through this process as a full board in order to answer any questions each board member might have. Could be similar questions that another board member would have going through that process. Are there any questions on those forms or policies?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
How often should we do these, and when do they due?
Go ahead.
That's something that the board would decide. It's something that you would, it really varies depending on the board's choice. If the board was interested in adopting these policies, I would recommend that you go through the process sooner than later, because it does establish your goals around the operation of the board. So whether you're a fairly new board or a veteran board, whatever it might be, it does establish goals around operational procedures. So.
We had discussed at the policy meeting that it may be in the best interest of the board to have a work session and have this information push explained to us the first time we're going into it, and at times of new elections, so that the expectations of the question are all the same for all of us, and we're not misinterpreting it or taking it another way, so that we can answer effectively. That would best serve us.
But did you say right after the election?
Well, they need, I think what we said is that coming onto the board, they need to know, we would want to show them these policies so they know what their expectations are.
But, I thought I was thinking that you said, right after the election, have them do this, they're not gonna be on the board.
No, I didn't mean that.
Okay.
I
Right.
spoke
Oh, absolutely,
illy.
hand them out, okay.
Yeah,
that's-
but to hand them out so that they know
Right.
and kind of know what the board's striving for and the unity that we're looking for and things like that.
Sounds like a good plan.
This is pretty good, too.
Anybody else? Questions? Wanna make a motion?
I make a motion to, can we make a motion to forego the second reading where we've all agreed to it? We may. I'd like to make a motion to forego the second reading and approve BAR1 and BAR2.
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you. Bus bids.
We got 3 companies that bid on the 2 buses that we're selling. W. Kresge came with the highest bid on both buses. So we're recommending that we go with the W.C. Kresge bid.
Are they picking them up? Huh?
Yes,
Do we know what, the scrap price would be?
well, we had talked about that, and bringing it to be scrap, your money you're getting extra scrap will be the cost of transporting the bus down to the scrap yard. So I thought the board had decided that we would just go out and bid because the cost of bringing the bus down there, if it's not operational, having to tow it and all, would eat up any extra money we get from selling it.
Does anybody have any questions?
These are the same people that are selling us new buses,
Right,
correct?
the people who buy the buses from,
So
or
that,
have bought the buses from recently, I don't know how many years we've been buying them, but yes, it's the people who we buy the new buses from.
so they won't be, this wouldn't be a trade-in value towards the purchase of a new bus. This is going to be cash coming in as
Right,
revenue.
we've already got the new buses.
I guess I'm surprised at how little they're worth.
But they probably have,
That being said, I'm surprised how
Yeah.
little they're worth. I mean, I guess I was taken aback by how it's
Yeah.
worth.
Yeah, they don't wanna give you, they wanna charge you full price, full price, but they don't wanna give you anything for them, and, yeah, you would think,
What's the weight of one of them?
About 14 ton.
14 ton, huh?
28,000 for 77 passengers. Yeah, it's probably,
I'll call my scrap guy.
Has the school board ever considered donating one of these buses to the Parks and Rec Department?
uh-huh,
We have considered that,
yes, we have.
and you voted against it? Or,
No, I believe, they were all set, weren't they, at the time?
I thought they decided they didn't want to take any of the buses from us, because we had offered it to them,
Right, we did,
and they didn't want it.
right.
They pay for the bus when they use the bus in the summertime anyway.
Right.
oh, I know, well, part of the CIP for the Parks and Rec is they're trying to buy a new bus, or a bus, so I just thought it might be something that could help.
We did ask them, and Wayne wasn't interested. Maybe that was just at that time, I don't know if he would want one of these now, but we did reach out and Wayne didn't want one. So. Anybody, wanna make a motion? I would say Cressy is the highest price, so. Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, actually, no, someone $1,266 for 77,
I'll just make a motion to go with W.C. Cressy and Sons bid to purchase the bus, the scrap buses, I guess. The used
Sell.
buses, sell the used buses.
Motion, second, anybody second?
I'll second it.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll say aye
Campground
too.
bus?
Tommy?
I said aye also.
I'm shocked, actually, that I worked.
Sorry about that.
Mm.
No, they don't give you anything, Will.
Mm-mm.
You'd think they'd be worth something.
It's gotta be like a Kelly Blue Book almost.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go home and call the company. I'll know next time.
Committee reports. Do we have anything outside what we already did today?
I did have the pleasure of going to the Bradley Kidder Educational Law Conference today. Very, very informative, very glad I went. A lot about the healthcare reform. I went to responding to bullying on the Avatar. I went to cloud computing and dealing with violent students, as well as employment laws. So I thought it to be very beneficial. Gave me insight on things that I will understand more clearly when you all speak of now.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we did have
Oh, we did.
you want to speak to that?
I will let you speak to that. Is that if
Sure.
Yeah, you can go ahead and speak to that.
Yesterday, we had a SAU withdrawal committee meeting, and the committee had voted at that meeting to not withdraw from SAU 64. It was a great discussion throughout the entire committee meetings, last night being a great discussion as well, and the committee had voted to not withdraw from SAU 64 at this time. So what that actually means is that we submit as a committee, submit a letter to the Department of Education stating the vote was made to not withdraw, and that's the end of it at that point.
Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Anybody else got anything? Well said, huh? Did those two today earlier. All right, comments by the public. Go ahead.
You have a policy of when your evaluations are supposed to take place. And you also can't forego a second meeting because you have a policy in place that mandates a second meeting.
You.
Thank you for your information.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, can I have a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32 for a leave request? Well,
I will make that motion. Royce, you second it?
that's what I was gonna, that was a motion, if you'd like to second it.
Sorry, second it.
All right, motion and second, all in favor?
Zero.
Aye.
Dog eye.
Brown, yes. Thank you for coming.